people. I walk with them.
I saw a lot of families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, in this brochure here, that all the straight answers about cemetery burial.
It's very helpful. It's very informative. We like to educate the people in our community so that they can make an informed decision.
Well, there's a lot to know.
There is.
Now, after I read this, I mean, there's a lot of words that, for example, crypt. You know, what's the difference between a crypt and a mausoleum?
Well, a crypt can be either in-ground, double crypt, underneath the earth, or it can be a crypt in a mausoleum, which could be a one-person or 100-person community mausoleum.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
There are.
And at the same time...
These explain your options.
At the same time, you got the options here, you put it right in here.
Right.
Exactly.
One to the other.
Okay. So that's... you consolidate a lot of this stuff yourself?
I helped with writing some of the brochures, but they're from our...
It's very important information.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else got me out? You helped them through the stage of going...
The advanced planning. It's so important. You know, Jack, it's easier on all of us when they come in ahead of time, when families come in, because when a husband and wife come in together, they get to choose together as a family.
Yeah.
But, you know, about 70% of the time when a death has occurred, where the woman comes in, the wife, the spouse, with 2 children, and they have to make a decision, all these decisions within 2 days. And, you know, when they start crying and get emotional, I start crying. It's tough on all of us. I really can't say enough about coming in ahead of time.
Well, you have a staff there.
I do, yes. Yeah. John DeMott is the general manager, and Eunice Davis, she helps with the family services, yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you do services right on the premise?
Well, when a funeral comes to the cemetery, either myself or my staff, I try to be at every funeral service. We lead the family up into the cemetery to the grave in a procession, and we stay throughout the whole service. We introduce ourselves if we haven't met the family yet. We have a medallion that we give them. It has the Serenity Prayer on one side, and we care for them forever. So we start a relationship building with the family at that time if we haven't met them before. So
a lot of these people that are walking around probably had family there.
They do. Yeah. And they feel comfortable. And I invite them into the office. We have coffee. I go out to lunch with a lot of people. I love to eat.
Your reputation is superb, believe me, in the community. You're very active in the community, too, by the way. I am, yes. So you help them through the advanced planning. That's a big plus. How about cremation?
We have cremation lots available at the cemetery, but we do not have a crematory there. Cremation is an option for families. It's less costly. It conserves land space because you don't need as much space when you have cremated remains. There's a possibility of scattering, but you have to, when you scatter, you should have a memorial somewhere that you can engrave on to have some tangible evidence that you existed. With the Catholic community, I believe it was in 1991, it came down from the Pope that Catholic families could have cremations as long as it wasn't in denial of the resurrection of Christ, and that the cremated remains were interred or buried in a dignified, respectable manner on consecrated grounds.
Yeah. Because of that ruling by the Pope, are more people turning to cremation?
The cremation rate in the state of Massachusetts is 25+%. So 1 in 4 are opting for cremation. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the economy or people are just choosing that, sometimes they don't want a visiting hours or an elaborate funeral service. But you can have both. You can have a viewing and a funeral service and be cremated. So there's more closure to viewing the body, and then you go to the cremation and be cremated. I would say 50% of the cremated remains are not going to the cemeteries. They're either on the proverbial mantle or they're being scattered through scattering societies. Our cremation rate at the cemetery is about 12%. So if we have a 25% cremation rate and we're only receiving 12, we're only receiving about half of the ones.
Yeah. I think it's best to keep it at the cemetery.
Cemeteries are forever.
Yeah.
They will last forever. We put money in our endowment funds so that we can use the interest income in the future for the maintenance and embellishment of the cemetery.
I think a lot of families, after a while, they all of a sudden the remains get misplaced. And
well, we've had cremated remains come like 5 years after the service. Sometimes they wait for the other spouse or another friend or family member to pass, and then they come in with 2 cremations.
Yeah. So a lot of people make the arrangement before they die. They say
yes, about 85% make their arrangements before the need. In general.
Yeah.
So in general, people make arrangements in advance.
That's a high number.
It is. Well, the average age is around 55. And when the kids are out of school and college and you've made it through the tough times and you realize that you're going to stay together forever, and you start seeing that your friends that are 10 years younger or 10 years older, they start passing. There's that connection where you say, whoa, that person was younger than me. So they start thinking about their own immortality and where they're going to be.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm getting up there.
Yeah. Are you 55 yet?
I'm 55.
Yeah, right around there.
How about 55 and a half?
Right.
Well, not quite. But I have a lot of my friends that have passed, and it concerns me. And that's why I want you to come on.
Okay.
And to enlighten people about the absolute. It's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Garden of Honor I was very impressed with. I happened to be with a couple of veterans. We were talking about going down to Bourne, and that seemed like a pretty good option for a veteran, And the more we talked, we saw the Garden of Honor that you have, and it's very nicely done, and the tribute that you pay to veterans in that section of the cemetery.
On Memorial Day,
yeah. And nicely laid out. I said, gee, maybe this is a spot.
Well, yeah, the Garden of Honor was an idea from the local veterans. They asked me, well, Alan, could you put in a section that was exclusive for veterans here? So I looked into it for a few years. I was looking for a grant to do this, but we didn't get the grant. So I developed the section anyways, and we're not free like the Bourne would be free for a veteran, but we are close to home. And the Garden of Honor is for the veteran and a spouse, and we have this great Memorial Day service that Richie Gormley from Gormley Funeral Home started about 43 years ago. The Post 2902 holds a service at the cannon off the USS Constitution, and then we march down in a procession to the Garden of Honor, where we have keynote speakers such as senators or dignitaries. We did a Korean War bench memorial unveiling last year. We had over 1,000 in attendance last year. We have flyovers, bands, singers, bagpipers, and at the end of it all, we cook a ham and pancake breakfast, and with real maple syrup.
But Bourne is a great place, but, and I've checked it out, it's like a factory. I'm saying that.
Okay.
Okay?